Today we're going to be utilizing one of the new features of ToneX that will allow us to dial in our tones to perfection and have things working the way we need them to for our setup. Let's get right to it. So one of the biggest comments and complaints that I get when people reach out to me to ask about various aspects of ToneX is they ask me why these demo tracks that are included are so loud. They're louder than almost anybody can run their instrument input. For instance, if we take a listen to this first one that comes up called Wood, and I'm just going to use one of IK's tone models here called Black Angus. For me to get my Strat style guitar on the neck pickup to even come close to that, I have to increase the gain on my audio interface so high that it is either clipping or so dangerously close to clipping that it's unusable. And if you notice down in the bottom right-hand corner, to get it up into that range is not going to be a possibility on pretty much any interface. And that's by following the instructions of what IK recommends we do with our audio interface in the ToneX Software manual. So what we would have had to do up until now to get it more in the ballpark of the levels we might be playing, we'd have to start this up and then use the gain control. To lower the amount of level that was actually hitting that tone model. Now we could just use the handy PDF that I made available a couple videos ago. I'll have the link below to that, which tells us the correlation between the gain knob and the global input trim in dB instead of just using the numbers here. So that's a very handy tool. So many people have reached out to me and thanked me for that. They can't believe how useful it is, and it really is a useful tool. But what I am doing today is going to be offering for free at the link below a complete collection of custom DI audio demos. Now, I did a video on this maybe a week or a little more ago of this new feature in the last update of ToneX. I'm using the beta here with the effects, so yours is going to look a little different. I want this video to be relevant for a while, so I figured I would use the new version, but this is going to be in the existing public version right now. If we click our demo audio menu here, you can see we have custom DI, and it says load custom DI, and it tells us that we can load custom DI files that we've made ourselves as long as they follow this format. Wave format, 44.1 kilohertz and 16-bit mono. We click open folder. It brings us to the appropriate place. We click on custom DI and we can just drag and drop and load in here any custom DIs that are in the proper format. Well, what I have done is made available this little collection right here. Now you'll notice that these are arranged in an interesting manner. I have 0 dB, -1, -2, all the way down to -7, +1, all the way up to +7. These numbers are going to correspond directly with our global input trim on our pedal. So for instance, just to give you an idea here, instead of having to go with just the audio demos we have at our disposal that are quite hot and quite a bit hotter than most people could even run their audio interface into the software, we could just simply use this by saying, let's say we run our global input trim on our Tonex pedal at 0 all the time for all our guitars because it leaves us enough headroom, and then we just simply utilize the gain control on ToneX software to do the rest for us and save it per preset, which is the preferable way to work as we've talked about before. But let's say that we always have our global input trim at 0. So I could open this folder and you're going to see we're going to have a nice collection here. And I have LP bridge clean, LP bridge drive, a Strat bridge drive, high gain lead, tone zone, and LP Junior. So what I have here is 4 different guitars. I have my Gibson Les Paul Standard 60s, and bridge means the bridge position pickup. I have my Les Paul Junior with a P90, Gibson P90 pickup, and I have my Vigier Expert Retro 54 Strat, which has DiMarzio area pickups in it, and we have bridge, middle, and neck. And I have a tone zone pickup that is in my Vigier Excalibur. Now this is all going to be explained in the custom DI manual in the collection when you download. Again, this is a free download. Just come to my website at the link below, grab this, and I think you might find it useful. Just make sure you read the manual over so you understand what's happening here. So what I can do is take these now, load them into my custom DIs as such. So here we have our custom DI folder. I'm simply going to grab these, I'm going to copy them, and I am going to paste them into the custom DI folder. Now when we go back to ToneX, what you're going to see is we have all of those here. Now, one thing to keep in mind, if you take one of these that says clean and use it on a distorted tone model like Black Angus, it's probably not going to sound very good. So what we can do is we could come over here and filter out just clean tones. And let's just grab this clean and cool Fender Pro Reverb. And I can come up here to my custom DIs now, and I could grab Strat Bridge Clean. I could listen to this. If I wanted to add a little reverb on there, I could just... Now, what you're hearing is the way that this will sound with this tone model on ToneX Pedal with the global input trim at 0. So I could come over to, let's say, the Les Paul bridge at the same setting on the clean, same riff. While that's playing, I come to the Strat neck pickup on the clean. Now you're going to hear how that sounds, as I said, and it's very important how it's going to sound on ToneX Pedal at 0 dB global input trim. Let's find something with a bit of drive now. Now obviously the clean might not sound too good because it's not designed to sound good with this, but if I go to something more with drive, tone zone pickup is a fairly high output pickup. There's the Strat bridge pickup on that same drive. P90 on that setting. Now you might say that, well, I don't run my ToneX pedal at that setting at all. I don't run it at 0. I run it at +3. So we can come back to our custom DI loading of that, and I could decide to either keep these ones in there or I could just get rid of those. I could come back over to my files here and say, well, I want to try these at +3. So I have all these same files at +3. I can copy those, paste those into here. And as soon as we have that +3 setting now, I can come down to custom DI, and now I'm going to see these +3 settings. So now, instead of the 0, I can come over here to the Les Paul bridge with a +3 setting. Obviously, that's going to hit it harder. And what we can hear is any of these particular tone models as they would sound on ToneX Pedal with a global input trim of +3. Again, we could do this for as many as we want. I can come back in here again, clear out the +3. Or like I said, we could keep them all in there if we so desire. But let's say somebody runs theirs at +5. I can come here again, grab these, copy, and paste them into the custom DI folder. And as soon as we come back over to ToneX, those +5 models are going to be there now. Or if we ran our ToneX pedal input trim at lower settings like -3, which is my preferred place of running them, I could simply load in the -3 settings like so. And again, they will show up over here as predicted. And I could come in here and choose a cleaner tone and choose the Strat neck clean. And that is exactly how this particular tone model will sound when loaded onto ToneX Pedal and played back with a global input trim of -3. Of course, with the gain control here on 5. Now, if we compare that to some of the other existing DIs, you can kind of hear what the difference is. This is obviously hitting with a little bit less input level, therefore affecting the sound of the tone model. But again, this is not here to tell anybody how you have to set this or run them. What I am doing is telling you that you have this ability with these custom tone models to go to whatever input trim that you usually use Tonex Pedal and load the DIs on so that you're going to have things translate in a better fashion. Now, something else that I did in the manual when you download this free collection is put a little guide as to how Tonex Pedal's global input trim compares to some popular audio interfaces on the market when they're at minimum gain. So you can see here it says Tonex Pedal Tonex 1 global input trim, which is this here, in comparison to popular audio interfaces on the market. Now, it says all at minimum gain unless stated otherwise. So when Tonex Pedal is set to a global input trim of -7, that's going to be equivalent to a Focusrite Claret Plus audio interface on its minimum gain. When Tonex Pedal is set to -6, that's going to be equivalent to IK Multimedia's Axe.io at minimum gain. When it's set to -5.5, it's going to be like IK Multimedia's iRig USB. When it's between -4 and -4.5 on Tonex Pedal and Tonex 1, that's going to be equivalent to all of these IK Multimedia Axe.io Solo, Universal Audio Apollo interfaces, and Focusrite Scarlett 4th generation interfaces all at their minimum gain. I threw this one in just as an interesting alternative to the others. I put the Motu Ultralight Mark V, which is one of the many audio interfaces I have here, and a Tonex Pedal at -3 dB will be like utilizing the Motu Ultralight Mark V with 8 dB added to the instrument input. Okay, so that's a fairly high headroom instrument input on that interface. Tonex Pedal at -3.5 is going to be very close to the Line 6 Helix HX Stomp used as an audio interface. Tonex Pedal set at global input trim of -2.5 dB is going to be the same as IK Multimedia's Axe.io 1 interface set at minimum gain. And Tonex Pedal set at -1 dB will be the same as the IK Multimedia iRig HDX set at minimum gain. So that is not, again, telling you to set anything anywhere or where to set it. This is just a reference so you can see how Tonex Pedal global input trim compares to a lot of very common audio interfaces on the market. All right, so there you have it. I really hope that that was helpful. Again, the link is below to this collection of custom DIs to at least get you started. I would encourage anybody to create their own with their own guitar and at the levels that they're used to working. Beautiful feature the folks at IK Multimedia have added in with these custom DIs. The reality is, I don't know why everybody's so hung up on Tonex Pedal needing to be at +8.5 in the global input trim. That's a starting point. As we've shown today, the manual says that you are going to have to adjust this to your guitar. But I've also talked about there isn't really any need to be menu diving into there. We can set that low enough to give us enough headroom for all of our guitars, and then we can simply use the gain knob on our preset or tone model, save it as a preset, and we're golden. It's going to give you the same thing. But again, if you grab the custom DI collection below, remember that the number corresponds with the global input trim of your pedal. So if you grab the ones that say -3, those DIs are going to make the tone while you're auditioning on ToneX Software sound exactly like they will on the pedal at the -3 setting. If they're -7, then it'll be -7. I'm not suggesting that those are the numbers anybody needs to use, but just to find the ones that correspond with what you have on your pedal. If you use +3, then grab the ones that say +3, and it should work out perfectly for you. Also, keep in mind the custom DIs are not going to sound good on everything, right? If I label one clean and use it on a heavy distorted tone, it's probably not going to sound very good. So that goes for just about any of them, including the DIs that IK Multimedia have included. I hope that that's helpful. Link is below. Go grab those custom DIs. I really hope that they're a useful tool for you guys and they help you to be able to dial things in a much more efficient manner. Please like the video, share it with anybody you think would get some use or enjoyment out of watching it. Also, please subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell notification, get notified when I put new content out. I'll be back really soon with some more. Thank you guys again so much for sharing your time with me. Enjoy the music on the way out. If you'd like to grab a copy of these tone models, the links are below.